Professor Olumakayi to read the citation of the resource person, Mrs. Funmilayo Ajagbe from UI. So a round of applause for her, please.
This program. She is a research administrator with background in psychology, human resource management. She has 5 years of hands-on experience in various Currently, she is a Chief Program Officer, Research Administration in the University of Ibadan. She's the Secretary, University of Ibadan Committee on Entrenching Mentoring Among Early Career Researchers, Secretary, University of Ibadan Committee on Policy Documents on Research-Based Salary Structure and Consultancy. She's the coordinator, Annual Research Reports Publication Unit, coordinator, Research Links Unit. She assists the director in the planning and execution of training workshops for early career and mid-career researchers, and she coordinates research-related activities in the faculties of Agriculture and Renewable Natural Resources. Recently, she was in the Florida Atlantic University, USA, to up a notch in the area of research administration, which earned her a diploma in research management from George Mason University, Virginia, USA. Let's make welcome our able, amiable, dependable, reliable Sister Funmilayo Ajagbe, our resource person for today.
Thank you so much, Ma. Good morning, sirs and mas. I'd like to first apologize for coming late. I'd been ready since 7:30 a.m., but some things happened that were beyond my control. So am I forgiven? Thank you so much. I want to thank my big mommy and daddy here, and I know Professor Taiwo is not around. Thank you so much for inviting me. When they told me to come, I tried to run away. But Professor Taiwo said, no, Funmi, you must come. And here I am. I bring greetings from the Research Management Office, University of Ibadan. Everybody wanted to be here, but we couldn't leave the office vacant. So, and I hope that today we'll be able to rub minds. It's not going to be a monologue. I hope we get to discuss. And if you have questions along the line, please let me know. I'm also still learning, so I won't say I'm a guru yet, but I hope I can share from the little I know about research management. Thank you so much. So we'll be talking about the responsibilities of research administrators. I know that maybe some of you or all of you are supposed to be in the research management office. So I'm supposed to come and share with you what we do in UI to probably act as a guide so you know what you're expected to do in the research management office. So let's take a look at the outline. So we'll take a brief look at what is research, because without research, we can't talk about research administration or management. We talk about what is sponsored research or grants. And then we talk about the stages of sponsored research. And then why are support staff important in sponsored research? Since we're not following them to the laboratory, we're not writing out the result of their findings. So why do we have to work with them? We'll take a look at that. Then what are the main functions of the Research Management Office? What are the functions of research administrators? What are the functions of other support offices? So it's not only the Research Management Office that works on grants or research-related activities. We have other units within the university that we also work with on grant-related issues. So then we talk about the challenges in research administration. It's not all bed of roses. There are challenges. And then we'll talk about future trends, and then question and answer. And then along the line, we're going to have tasks. So please, let's listen attentively so that it will be participatory. So what is research? I know that all of us must have taken part in one research or the other at some point. Probably at the undergraduate level or postgraduate level, we must have engaged in research work at one point or the other. So simply put, research is the creative and systematic work undertaken to increase the stock of knowledge. So now the emphasis there is to increase the stock of knowledge. We don't just do research because we want to do research or because so that they will know I'm doing something. So the aim of research is to increase the stock of knowledge, to have new findings, to have new ways of doing things. So it involves the collection, the organization, and analysis of information to increase understanding of a topic or issue. If you understand, our understanding of research shows that conducting research can be expensive. Is it data? For people in sciences, they might need to buy equipment to probably examine bacteria, virus, and all that. So you know that research can be expensive, and sometimes there are some ideas that you have, or our scientists, our researchers have, that they cannot fund from their own salary or from their own pocket. You understand? So our understanding of research now shows that sometimes we need funding to carry out research, and there are different types of research. I'm not going to go into that today. There are different kinds of research: sponsored, self-sponsored, sponsored from external bodies. That research is being carried out in the sciences, in humanities, law, and different areas. But I'm not going to focus on that today. So research can either be sponsored or not. But for the purpose of our discussion today, we're going to be talking about sponsored research. So what is sponsored research? From the English word itself, sponsored, it means that somebody else is paying for it. If I tell you, oh, okay, you're hungry, you want to have lunch, don't worry, just go to so restaurant, I'm going to sponsor you. It means that the bill is on me. So that's how it works in research. It means a sponsored research is an externally funded activity. That means the fund is not coming from you, it's coming from an external body. And then it is governed by specific terms and conditions. That means I'm not just giving you my money to carry out research without rules and regulation that has to be met. You understand? So, and it is established in a written agreement between a sponsor and an awardee. So that means when you are getting a grant or a sponsorship to carry out a research, there are terms and conditions like we will normally hear. You understand? So there are terms and conditions that has to be met by the sponsor and by the awardee. That's the person getting the research, the grant. So sponsor programs involved a detailed level of financial accountability, including, for example, statement of work, project periods, line item, budget, and audit. So for you to get a grant, you must be accountable. Gone are the days where once people get a grant award, they go and marry second wife or they buy car. You understand? Now, probably because of some things that have happened in time past, now sponsors have rules and regulations that you must follow. And then there are documentations that has to be submitted. Like you must have a budget, You must have a budget timeline. Okay, the project is going to take 2 years. In year 1, we need 5 billion naira. The 5 billion naira will be spent on this. Maybe we have to construct a building. We have to buy an equipment. We have to buy an official car or something. So it has to be well laid out and explained. Next slide, please. So what are the stages of sponsored research? Sponsored research occurs in stages, and this diagram is a summary of the stages of sponsored research. We have the pre-award stage and the post-award stage. The pre-award stage includes activities that happen before you get the grant, before you get the sponsorship. And then the post talks about, okay, after you have gotten the grant, are you just supposed to go and rest at home and say, yes, there's money in the bank. You understand? What are you supposed to do? Are there rules and regulations that you're supposed to follow? So for the pre-award, the first stage is finding opportunities. Now you have this idea how to maybe get a cure for sickle cell anemia in Nigeria. You have the idea, you know what you're supposed to do, but you need funding for it. So how are you supposed to get funding opportunities, maybe donors that might be willing to sponsor your project? So the first step is to look for funding opportunities, maybe like NIH, National Institute for Health. That's one of the places you might think to look to, and some other funding agencies. Then, okay, fine, you've gotten a call, a prospective sponsor. Now you're supposed to put together a proposal. So the second stage is proposal development. And while developing your proposal, you have to consider the requirement. Do you qualify? What are you expected to submit? Which documents are you expected to submit? Do you need a letter of institutional support? Do you need to submit a budget? Do you need to first submit a draft of maybe a summary of your proposal? So that's during the development of the proposal stage. Those are some of the things you will consider. And then review and submission. Some institutions don't allow their researchers submit individual proposal. For some, you have to go through the research management office, even if you require little or no input from them. So during the review and submission process, you're supposed to submit your proposal to the research management office or any office that is in charge of that for them to vet it before they submit. And when they are looking through your proposal, some of the things they look at is not only the science in your work, they are looking at the implications it might have for the university. Because some of the funders have some clauses that you might not look at it. You are just looking at that sum, $300 million US. If I can just get this. And there might be a clause there that maybe after you're done with your research, you cannot patent whatever it is that you get. You know, those are some of the things that the university official is supposed to check and be sure that they're protecting the interest of the university and they're protecting the interest of the researcher, even though you are getting the funding. But then it's they're ensuring that at the end of the day, you will not be losing. So then approval. So let's hope that after submission, your proposal is shortlisted and then you get a letter of award. And then ongoing compliance to ensure that you have all you have claimed that you have, or then you follow the necessary procedures. Account setup, that has to do with bursary units, then the award management. Now, you've gotten the money, you have to implement the idea you have in your mind. And then in doing this, a lot of issues crop up. This is where we talk about ethical issues. And then some people run into problem here with budgeting. Are you spending more than you earlier budgeted for? Are you spending below what you're budgeted for? These are all issues that can occur at the award management stage. Then after, if you notice, we've rolled into the post-award phase now. Then after, you have to submit a report to the funders of how you have been able to use the money that has been given onto you, then award closure, and then the cycle continues again. You start looking for opportunity for another project and all that. Next slide. Okay, so this one just shows what I've explained. The pre-award stage, finding funding, determine eligibility, you develop a proposal, review, and then submit the proposal. So then the post-award stage, once you receive the letter of award, you notify the bursary unit and other related units. The bursary unit, once you take your letter of award to them, they create a vote for you where the money will go. For grants that pay, most grants now pay to the institution anyway. Some pay directly to your private account. If they are paying to your private account, then you don't need to get a vote from the bursary unit. But if it's most people anyway now pay because of mismanagement of funds. So once you go to the bursary unit, they create a vote for you, which you send to the sender, and then they'll be able to use it to track whatever money is being sent. Then the legal unit, those ones make sure that you don't sign things that you will later regret. They read through the terms and the conditions and advise you accordingly. Then the Office of the International Programs, they are involved, especially when you have to draft an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding. Then when you receive the fund, you implement the project strictly following the approved budget. And if there's going to be an alteration, you can always go back to the funder to get their approval. Then you carry out the project within the stipulated ethical standards. You submit reports, complete projects, and then result. Next slide. So the first task. Are research support staff important? If yes, give reasons. If no, give reasons. So I need 3 people to talk. Do you think there's any need for research administrators? Why do we have to work with researchers? Why do we have to have a research management office? Do you think it's going to add any value to the research ecosystem? All right. Thank you.
Yes, I think it's very important.
Why, Ma?
With what you have just said, I think if it is an individual just handling it, it might not really be well, organized. But if there is a particular a particular place where it is being managed, all this information will be able to help individuals to be able to carry out the research.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. There's someone here.
Thank you. You also mentioned that there might be clauses in some research documents that even the researcher may not be aware of or understand. So it's important the research office helps that person to help so that it doesn't fall into a pit holes, it doesn't even envisage and run into problems.
So your answer is a yes. Okay. All right.
Well, I think it's quite important because, number one, it creates a link between the university and the researcher. Number two, I think it brings about efficiency and effectiveness of the research work itself and puts the image of the university through a research that is well managed.
Thank you.
Can we please know where you are coming from?
I'm from Tenders Unit.
What?
Tenders Unit.
Tenders. Okay.
Okay. I'm from the Institute of Public Health, the Health Research Ethics Committee.
Okay.
I'm from Central Science Lab.
All right. Thank you. All right. Next slide. So, who is a research support staff? A research support staff is someone who provides support for people engaging in research. We provide administrative support. Is it in creation of a budget? Do you help them with purchase, with procurement? Do you help them with payment of salaries monthly? So you don't actually engage in the research itself, but in the administration, every other thing that has to do with getting the research ongoing. So research support staff include variety of people providing specialized support services for people engaging in research. For example, we have lawyers in legal unit. I can read a sentence and see nothing wrong with it, but a lawyer who has the understanding of what the law states will read it and know that, oh, if this person signs this form, there's going to be trouble. So research support staff include a variety of people. Accounts, me, I do not like anything that has to do with accounts, balance sheet and all that. I don't like it. But then it is required when it comes to research administration. So our researchers also work with people from bursary. They work with people from procurement who will tell you, madam, they rank, they work auditor science, and you bring the receipts. When you are done using it, then it's going to be trouble. At some point, it was later I got to know, at some point I would all buy and say, okay, we have a workshop, we bought the envelope. As small as a pen is, if you buy and you don't audit, it's going to be a problem. So it brings together people with different wealth of experience and knowledge to provide support to the researcher in the administration, in the carrying out of his research work. So this picture says, keep calm and collected. Your research administrator will sort it out. This is the feeling we want to give the researchers. Don't bother. Science. Focus on the science, focus on the lab work, focus on the field work. We will handle, do you need support letters? We'll handle it for you. For example, when we went to the US and I was at the Florida Atlantic University, and some of the people I met there said, oh, for me, we have this grants application that is due in 2 weeks, and we need 75 support letters. I was like, what? So imagine if the researcher has to, you have to think about the science of the project, and you have to pursue 75 different support letters. You know it's going to be difficult. And then you have to go to the market and then cost whatever it is that you need. So that's why we research administrators are there to make life easier for them. Tell them, calm down. I've got this. You understand? So why are support staff important? Now I'm answering the question I've asked you. They take charge of administrative roles for researchers, the day-to-day running of the grant cycle. Do we need water in the office? You don't expect the researcher to come and then be the one. Have you bought some things that needs to be audited? Those are things that you can take off them so that they have more time to focus on their research. Then they give researchers enough time to focus on the science of the research. They ensure adherence to funder guidelines and requirements. Some of them will come and tell you during closeout that, we did not know that we're supposed to audit so and so. Or when it comes to buying things, I know that if you want to buy something that is above 5 million naira, you have to involve the procurement unit. Some will say, I did not know. And the auditors will tell you, let's sign out. That is the rule, you understand? So, but when the research administrators are involved from the beginning, they save the researchers from issues that might arise relating to adherence to guidelines. Then they assist with budget development and financial management, and they provide support for proposal enhancement. some researchers might think, okay, what do they know? Like one of the people I met at the Florida Atlantic University, Ginny, tells me that for me, even though I don't have a PhD, sometimes I tell these researchers, do this, and they say, no, I'm the one, I know what I want to, and then they come back and say, oh, you were right. Because the person has been on the job for years, so they know the funding, the rules of the funding agencies, they know the procedures, they know the guidelines. So when the researchers come to them, it saves you time. They just tell you, okay, you're applying for NIH grant. These are the things you need. These are the things you need. These are the things. Instead of having to sit down to be reading through the old document. So, and then another function of the Research Management Office, which is also very important, is we find and disseminate funding opportunities to researchers. We are currently 13 in the Research Management Office in UAE. I think we used to be 21. Some people moved out, and some went to further their studies. So we were divided according to faculties. When Professor Olumakai was reading my citation, she said I'm in charge of the faculties of Agriculture and the Faculty of Renewable Natural Resources. So I disseminate funding opportunities to people, researchers in my own area. So I have their email addresses, I have their phone numbers, I have their names. And then I also have their area of research interest, because there are times that you get some calls that are area specific. For example, if you get a call that is on climate change and you're sending it to someone in mathematics, you understand, you see that it does not make sense. And then there are times that the institution is expected to submit a joint proposal, you understand? So, and then they are telling you, okay, we need somebody in the area of maybe soil and something, climate. I can go through my directory and say, okay, Professor Lagbaja is in this research area here. So sometimes it also helps us to match the funding opportunities available to researchers that you feel will maximally gain from them. So, and then these are some of the funding sources. We have the grants.gov, we have the NSF. The research professional is in bold letter because it's by subscription. The University of Ibadan has not renewed our subscription for a while now. We used to be there, and then we used to even register researchers on the site so that they can go on the site and find funding opportunities for themselves also. But I think it costs a lot to renew annually. Then we have the Wellcome Trust, we have the NIH, we have the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and so on and so forth. And then sometimes some come through the DVC, Research, Innovation, and Strategic Partnerships. So sometimes it's being forwarded to the director, and he forwards to us, please disseminate. And then we send it to researchers. And then we also facilitate faculty liaison with the Research Management Office. Sometimes the researchers get mails from us, but they don't have that connection with the Research Management Office, except when they start seeing you. Some see me and say, oh, yeah, Mrs. Ajagbe, I'm a email you understand? Sometimes it might be difficult. I'll be candid with you. It might be difficult to go and be knocking on their door and say, Dr. OBAFEMI, did you see the research, the funding opportunity I sent to you? Please try and apply. You understand? Sometimes we go to some of them that we know. You understand? I won't be self-righteous and say I know all of them. I know some of them. Sometimes after sending the email, I follow up with them. Oh, share funding opportunity, TED fund is out. Are you going to apply? You understand? And then sometimes it works. Sometimes they just need that push, that encouragement. You understand? And then that's why we research administrators are here. So then it ensures that the university's interests are being protected in the negotiation of grants and contracts. Imagine if a researcher, after getting a grant, without consulting the necessary unit, signs that, okay, well maybe, because they also ask you that, I think co-share is what they call it. Okay, we are giving you this money, but what is your own institution going to contribute to the to the research work, because at least when you get the research, it's going to be counted for the University of Ibadan or the University of IFE. You understand? So now, if you now sign that, okay, the University of Ibadan is going to pay salary of staff on that project, you're going to be in trouble, because even the staff to work back on, there are still things that they are yet to pay. You understand? So we are supposed to work with the researchers to ensure that the interest of the university is very important. The interest of the university is being protected, and then to ensure that the researcher also is not being cheated. You understand? So that's why we have to include the legal unit and the OIP, especially when it comes to legal documents. So in UI at the moment, if there are MOUs to be signed, it comes to the RMO office and then to the legal unit or the OIP before it's being sent out after proper vetting. It also facilitates financial accountability in the administration of grants and research-related contracts. When your money comes in and goes to bursary, when you want to apply for cash advance now, you want to make withdrawals, the people at the grant section of the bursary unit will tell you, okay, according to I think they work with the budget. I'm sorry, I'm not in charge of the financial aspect in the office, but I have an idea. So the people at the grant office ensure that you spend according to what has been budgeted. So they are saving you the trouble of having to cower, saying at the end of the day when funder is asking you that you've spent money for 3 years in 1 year. Kilo happen. You understand? So, and then we assist researchers in the application for research grants. You feel that kini momo. But then if I'm running around for you to get letter of support, if I'm running around for you to get forms filled, then I'm doing a lot of good. And then you can focus on, okay, how many samples do I need? How do I analyze and all that? Then it also increases visibility of researchers and the university through communication of research findings via various platforms. So this is another very, very important function of the Research Management Office. In, I think, September 2019, the RMO office, we started a news bulletin. We showcase researchers with cross-cutting research work, you understand, in a bid to increase visibility. And the news bulletin is e-bulletin. We don't print it, we send it out, and it goes as far as Canada, United States. And you know what that does? If a researcher from there sees a publication and says, oh, this is what this person has done in the area of soil. Oh, I would like to work with you. You are increasing visibility. You understand? You are creating collaboration for research researchers in the university. And then also, we recently started a series which is called the UI Research Discourse. It was one of the things we brought from the Florida Atlantic University. They have theirs weekly. Well, for now, we have ours quarterly. And what do? We bring researchers to talk about their research work. Okay, now, I've been able to make maybe a pill from agbalumo that can cure arthritis. You understand? And we expect people from, the community to also join. You understand? Now, if you know that now issues relating to communicating research finding is very, very important now. So many people publish and they are just left on the shelf. So now the issue of communicating your research finding is very important, and the Research Management Office is also assisting researchers in doing this by creating avenue for them to do such. I'll talk about the structure of Research Management Office. In UI, at the moment, we have 5 units. We have the Research Development and Policy Unit. We have the Finance Unit. We have the Research Ethics and Integrity Unit. We have the Research Links Unit. And we have the Legal Unit. Prior to now, these units were just existing in the books. But I think it was last year you came. It was just shortly before you came that the director now, had people in the unit. And, well, we're still trying to find our footing, I would not lie. But then I'll tell you some of the things we are expected to do. Because up until now, all of us just do basically almost the same thing, but for different faculties. You understand? So if somebody from my faculty comes, even if he does not come to me and goes to the research management office and says, I need this, they'll say, okay, call the research administrator in your faculty, in charge of your faculty. So, so the research development and policy units, they develop capacity of researchers in proposal writing, research methodology, and report writing through workshops and seminars. We have series of seminars and workshops for researchers and early career researchers and then postgraduate students. Sometimes it's being funded by the postgraduate school, most times. So the essence of the programs is to help them. How do you write proposal? Fine. We have so many people see funding opportunities that we send, but they do not apply because they don't know how to go about it. Some of them don't know how to write proposals. You understand? Some of them don't know how to do their budget. You understand? So when we organize these trainings, which the Research Development and Policy Unit is supposed to oversee, we teach them on how to do these things. We don't know it, but we bring facilitators that will teach them how to handle these things. Then they disseminate information on funding initiatives and opportunities to researchers. They assist researchers in preparing, writing, and packaging proposals. Then they maintain and operate a searchable database of research funding information, researchers and their research interests. This is what I was talking about the other time. We have a database of researchers in UI per faculty, their phone numbers, their email, and their research interests, such that if the DVC calls the director now and says, oh, I need a researcher in the area of maybe plant entomology or something, the director is supposed to be able to call me and say, Fumi, get me somebody from this area in your faculty. And I'm supposed to just look through my database and say, okay, Professor so, this is his phone number. You understand? So this, sometimes it's outdated. Sometimes we have people that are retired, people that are dead, but we try as much as possible to update. And then, you know, the university keeps employing people, so we're supposed to update the record and the database from time to time. And then promote and coordinate collaboration among researchers. We have research work or proposals that are interdisciplinary. You're bringing somebody from humanities to work with somebody from the sciences. You understand? So we promote this, you understand? So the person from the sciences is looking at maybe the organism, and then the person from humanities is looking at your behavioral disposition, you understand? So we also do this by bringing people together to work on joint proposals. Then we have the finance unit. The finance unit work with the grant section and audit unit of the bursary to facilitate the financial management of grants. Even though we have idea of what is expected as relates to finance on a grant, we cannot be as good as somebody that has that is ICANN certified or somebody that has been working in the bursary unit for years. So we facilitate relationship between the researchers and the people in the bursary as relates to grants. Then we work with relevant units such as the research and development unit regarding budgetary aspect of research proposals. We advise researchers on relevant financial processes and regulation. I know that when researchers are submitting applications for grants, I think there's, is it FOA, Prof? That they're supposed to quote that goes to the university, whether it's 2% or 10%. I know I hear different percentages, you know. So we are supposed to advise. Some researchers don't know. Once the matter quote or what you understand, they feel that's all. And then if the problem will come because the body unit will tell you, Ewa, we cannot, it's true now, they can't work for free now. Where they're sure you understand? So these are some of the things that the unit is supposed to advise researchers to factor into their proposals, even at the early stage. So that we assist in performing closeout procedures for grants and awards and retain records. That record is, it is well. It's one of the things that is very important, very, very important. because it makes your work easier. Then we have the research ethics and integrity units. This is very important because the issue of ethics cannot be overemphasized. I know my boss was here at I think maybe last month, and he really talked about ethics. So we have research administrators in as secretaries in the ethics committees that we have in the university. So we coordinate and monitor procedures on research using human subjects and animal subjects. For you to carry out research, whether using human, whether using animal, there are ethical procedures that you must follow. And if you don't follow them, there will be trouble. You understand? So the research administrator work with researchers to ensure this. We supervise compliance with ethical regulations guiding research. Then we assist researchers in research and instruction related to compliance concerns and provide administrative support for the relevant ethical review boards. There are ethical review boards, like I said, in the University of Ibadan. It depends on your faculty and then the area in which your research is focused. If it's plants, we have the plant, please go to the next slide. I think there's a list of, there's a list of the committees in UI. The University of Ibadan College Hospital Ethical Review Committee, it used to be the only ethical review committee for a long time until the other 4 were created. So we have the Humanities and Behavior Studies Review Committee. We have the Animal Care and Use Committee. This one is functioning very well. So we have a research administrator who is the secretary and handles things there. I think there's a slide that talks about what they do there. We have the Plant Care and Use Committee. If you're working with plants, you are supposed to get ethical approval from this committee before going ahead. We have a Science and Technology Review Committee also that handles people in that area. So then the next unit is the Research Links Unit. They identify private sector research needs which may be met through collaboration with the University of Ibadan researchers. Sometimes we expect, it's called town and gown, Prof. So sometimes we expect industry to come and say, okay, we need this product that can do this, that can do this, that can do this. We are willing to fund. And then we have an agreement. When you get it, maybe we'll have royalty, 50-50%. You understand? So the unit is supposed to initiate this, although we are still, I can't say we have much of this yet, but then we are working on it. So we expect industries to come, because what's the essence of the university? The university is supposed to come out with knowledge that can be commercialized. They are supposed to come out with things, new ideas that can make things better, make things easier. So the Research Links Unit is supposed to establish collaboration between the industry and then the university, facilitate linkages with private sector for the sponsorship of research conducted in the university. If you need me to solve a problem for your company, then you'll be willing to part with something. Okay, take this, I'm going to support the project. Since I'm also gaining from, I'm going to gain from the final product. So, and then we liaise with relevant units such as the PG school, the CEI, the legal units regarding research-related matters, and will provide a directory of private sector research development activities. Then the legal unit. I know that I've mentioned legal units several times, and then they ensure that the legal interests of the university are adequately protected and safeguarded in all research contracts. Contract is very, very important because once you sign, it is binding. So the legal unit ensures that researchers don't run into trouble by signing the wrong document. Then they provide legal advice, opinion, and guidance to the Research Management Office and researchers on matters pertaining to research contract and memorandum of understanding. So, task 2. I want to keep quiet for a while now. So, I've mentioned different units. while talking about the Research Management Office and what we do. So what are the other support offices that are involved in sponsored research? What are they and what do you think they offer? Thank you.
I'm Mr. Funmilayo from the Vice Chancellor's Office. The other support offices in research include the grants and agents offices, the audit section, and the bursary section of the university. I think what they do is to advise the researcher on how to go about financial aspects of the research.
There's someone here.
Thank you. I'd like to include the procurement unit alongside the help in procuring equipment and other things needed for research.
Thank you.
Mrs. Bukola Balogun from the Central Store.
Central Store? Oh, okay. Okay. All right, there's someone here.
I'm Mary Adeyanju from Internal Audits. The legal unit, they help to protect the legal interests of the university. And at the same time, they help the researcher to interpret some terms and conditions that might not be easy for them to interpret. They use their own legal acumen to help them interpret so that they won't fall short of what is expected of them.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, there's someone there. Okay.
I'm Ibukun Adedeji, Regis. I felt the security department should be added, especially during the field work.
Thank you so much. That's very important. I'm taking that home. That's also very important because they also protect the equipment that you buy. If you buy an equipment worth 5 million, you tell funders, once it looks to laboratory, wow, you know, it's going to put the university even in a bad light. Thank you so much.
Okay, I'm Rachel Titus from the Institute of Public Health Research Ethics Committee. I wanted to just add to what the Health Research Ethics Committee does for researchers too, because sometimes they have issues with ethics of their research. So we provide ethical advice for them. I think we've experienced one or two in the community who came that their research is being stepped down because of these ethical issues. So we had to provide solutions for them to get around it.
Thank you so much. All right, so let's continue. Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Mrs. Ojediran from Third Fund Office. They save the researchers from issues that may arise during the process and after the processing of their grants.
Thank you. So, other research support offices, we have the bursary. And talking about bursary, we have the grants, we have the audits, we have the procurement, and the treasury. I think the treasury is basically concerned when it has to do with third fund grants. And then we have the Office of the International Programs, we have the legal unit, we have the Human Resource and Development. And then I'm going to add security to it. All right, next to. So the Office of International Programs, they draft documents for a new memorandum of understanding with other institutions. So if your research work requires you to have an MOU with the institution, with another institution, the Office of International Programs is in charge of this. And then we used to have a research administrator domiciled there, but it was moved out. But we have somebody that works with them when it is necessary. Then they are involved in research that requires the establishment of new agreements between institutions, just like I explained now. Then human resource, you'll be wondering what does HR have to do with grants? You know that workers are employed on grants. So the Human Resource Department issues out letter of employment. It's usually temporary, ad hoc, but they are grants. You know, even though they are not employed by the University of Ibadan, they are working for the University of Ibadan. So the HRD issues letter of appointment stating their conditions of employment. They might not be involved in recruitment process, but then they are in charge of the letter of appointment. So that's what the Human Resource Department do in the grant process. Next. Yeah, bursary, very important. The grant section, they're in charge of receiving and disbursing money for sponsored research. They open a vote with the details of the project. I said this at the beginning. Once you get your letter of award, you take it to them so that they can open a vote for you. Is it Funmilayo Ajagbe's research on sickle cell anemia? They open it so that once money is sent in using that vote, it will not go into somebody else's account. And then I can apply to get money for the research from that vote that has been opened. Then they disburse money based on approved budget, e.g. monthly payments of research project staff. And then they produce balance sheet during the project closeout. Since they are the one that received the money on your behalf, they know how much came in, they know how much you have collected in tranches, then they know the balance, if there is any, that is left. Because those are some of the things that will be required during closeout. All right. Then the audits, they act as checks and balances by ensuring that there is no ambiguity in the project finances. If you say, okay, you want to buy biro for workshop, and we're buying one for 5,000 naira, is it necessary? You know? So they try as much as possible to guide you so that at the end of the day, you do not have issues during closeout. They certify authentication of purchased items. That's how we take our items to them. We bought 10 biros for 500 naira. They count and see that you did not buy 2 here instead of 10. Then they certify that fund was spent as stipulated. Then procurement, they make purchases of items that are over 5 million naira. And then when it has to do with building construction, they are the one that coordinates tender, right? Am I on course? So they're the one that coordinates tender, they call people to apply, and then they award the project on your behalf. All right, next slide. So what are the challenges? We've been talking about what we do. It's sweet to the ear, but there are challenges, a lot of challenges. We have this, this notion, you know, what do non-teaching staff know about research? You know this, should I say disparity between teaching and non-teaching? Research administrator, you are just disturbing me, you are following me. What do you want to contribute to my research work? You understand? And like, she doesn't even have a PhD. BSc, kilo fair contribute. You understand? So, some of them don't come to the research management office, except when it is necessary, when they are pushed to, maybe they need a letter that they cannot get from anywhere else. You understand? Or they have run into trouble and they now come. You understand? So that's a challenge, but I think with time, it's getting better. There used to be a time when, you know, if you mention research administrators in UA, and they'd be like, what do you need them for? But now we are working more with them. We have a lot of our research administrators on grants that are even being paid, you understand, in the research management office, working side by side with the researchers. Then maintaining a searchable database of all ongoing and completed research activities, including funds received and spent. Sometimes you send out the research, the funding opportunity, they apply, they will get the grant, they will not tell you. How are we supposed to have a record? You understand? It is maybe during closeout, one of them will come and say, hey, you know, let's send funding opportunities. You got the grant, you did not even come to the research, which is supposed to be. You understand? So we can, most times we don't have, and then sometimes Also, third fund, we coordinate the submission, and sometimes we coordinate the review process for third fund before it's taken to Abuja. When they bring it back, even the people in charge of the third fund, they will not notify RMO. So most times you don't know who was chosen. You understand? So there still needs to be synergy between these offices. See, weak synergy between research support offices. Last year or upper year, we had a registry discourse like this. We brought people from procurement, we brought people from audit, we brought people from, nobody came from HR. It was during the meeting that somebody made a comment that there was a need for HR to be represented. So I hope the next one will have them there. We brought people from legal unit and all the units that work on grants, to talk about how we are expected to work together. You understand? Some people don't even know what research management office is supposed to handle. It was really a nice time. I think it was something about compliance. You understand? So we need to strengthen the relationship between these offices, because if we work together, it's for our own good. If you don't work together, go pay wa. You understand? Because if I say that, no need to take your budget to grant office, and there are issues in future, it will affect the university, it will affect the researcher. So then funds for research management office, lack of infrastructure. Up until, I think, just recently, when I was putting together this slide, Professor Jegede, the research management office director, got a grant that gave the office 10 laptops. We are 13, with no official laptop, no data allowance, and then you're supposed to source for fund, you're supposed to disseminate. You understand? There are no funds to do things in the office, even for training. The last Warima conference, there was no research administrator from University of Ibadan. That bad. So we need the university, the office to be funded. And I know that, I think that 2% of each grant is supposed to go to the research management office, but it is not being implemented. There's a particular amount that is being paid by postgraduate students that is supposed to be paid to the vote of the research management office. But up until now, I think they said they are working on that. I hope they do it. At least we have money to go for trainings. We have money to conduct trainings for researchers also. We have money to get the things we need. You understand? And then paper-based research administration. Right now, it's still paper. Professor Oseni and Professor Lumakaye knows that we've been trying to move digital with the Novolution. We're having issues with it. People from Grant said their Admond software cannot handshake with the software developed. So we are still on it, but then it will pay us if a researcher can sit in the comfort of his office and request for fund without having to carry paper, walk up, walk down, office to answer lelema law. Mr. B, you understand? These are things we can do online. And then when you are doing that, it solves two problems. Apart from the fact that it's time effective, it is acting as a database. You understand? It's acting as a data repository. So at the end of the month, I can go in and say, okay, how many people requested for fund? How much was disbursed? For which grant? How much came in? Using that database instead of having to egbe file amamobiti file lo table Mr. Kini Kolowa last week. Those are things that in the universities abroad they have gone digital since tikpe, but we are hopeful. They also started from somewhere, they will tell us. Then the career structure, this is very important. We all know that research administration is new. I'm a research administrator, but I was introduced as a chief program officer because I'm in that line. But I've been in research management office since 2015, and that's why some people left. Because even though council has approved the structure, they have not implemented. And that discourages some people. Imagine after all the trainings we've been through, The registrar can just say, transfer Funmilayo Ajagbe to so place. I do not have a choice. But if the structure is in place and we've all been put on, the necessary cadres, it will be difficult to move someone in the research administrator cadre to register or elsewhere. So that's one of the challenges. And then change in leadership and duplication of offices. A leader might come today and say, most times it's the academic people that head the research management office. Some might come and say, just like they say, what do they know? And they say, track you. I beg. But we used to have a leader that didn't believe. She would tell you, anything that has to go out must go through me. You understand? We were not involved. You understand? And people were like, no wahala. And then somebody else came and said, it's your office. I will leave. You can see that it's different. And then it tells you, okay, now I'm in charge of research reports. After collecting input from researchers, Oga, how are we supposed, okay, how do we do preface and all that? Put me in charge, go call me. I might leave the office tomorrow. I need this thing to keep going on. You understand? And we deliver. Is it when your boss has put his whole, trust in you that you now say you want to mess up? No. You understand? But another person can come tomorrow and say, no, I will handle things myself. So those are the things that also affect. And just like I said, the research discourse program, we had it in December. And then we're planning for March. And the DVC said, no, I have a committee that's supposed to handle that. And I was like, so he said, okay, Esheti March. After that one, we will be working with the committee. So future trends and recommendations, digital electronic platform, it's very important to feature all the research support offices and also acts as a database for proper reporting, then proper funding of the RMO, a well-defined career path for research administrators. So here I will keep quiet to listen to your questions, comments, concerns. No question. Okay, comment. Okay.
Please, let's appreciate our sister again. We also appreciate participants from Great IFE. I am really excited, and I documented your contributions all across. You did not disappoint. We are so grateful. Just a brief contribution or a clarification. Our sister has said so many things. And what she said is the ideal, what should be. And any university that does not gravitate towards that direction will be lagging. The research management is the in thing. And then as part of it, whoever gets a grant, the grant does not belong to the academic staff. The grant belongs to the university. And she properly pointed out, where does the grant go? To the bursary, because the grant is domiciled in the university. And you are a staff of the university. And there are ethical and compliance issues. If you run foul, you are OYO on your own. The university will apply all the rules brutally on you. There is no safe haven. So the money belongs to the university. But I just want to add a few quick points about incentivization, which she calls synergy. For example, that the admin charge of 10%. We use the example of third fund grants for last year. OAU came first nationally with about 20 NRF grants. Each is worth, the range is 28 to 45 million. The least was 28. The highest was 45. What is the summation? What is the second? What is the center point? Let's say about let's say 38, let's say 40 million. I want you to do some quick arithmetic. If you do 10% of 40 million across 20 places, that is the admin charge that comes to the university, isn't it? But it is not IGR. That is the point we are missing. That money is distributed systematically across all the units that drive research. From the PI's team to the Central Office of Research to the audit to the bursary. It's not lumped into IGR. And just like she said, there is a policy backing that up, that 2% of the lump sum goes to this unit. And there is a policy and there's a penalty for not adhering to that. Why are we saying this? That money also is part of the benefits to those who drive research, really. So when that is strictly adhered to, it becomes so beneficial. So if, for example, for part of the bursaries that is in charge with budget development to support proposals, when they are called to do the task, they will do it enthusiastically, knowing that when funding comes, there is some, this is not salary now, this is not emolument. This is part of a standing policy and is applied elsewhere. And then you look at the lump sum, meaning that the amount will increase when we have so many grants coming in. But what is the current practice? We have everything plus your statutory work, plus the extra work, everything lumped together. I think this point must be made, and whatever it takes to fight for that policy that address the way admin cost is actually distributed across the units. So this should be part of the synergy, so that when people want, grants take a lot of time, budgets, budget justification, all the calculations. Imagine a section of the bursary now that has to handle 10 EU grants this first quarter of 2022, and each EU grant, the minimum is €500 million. That becomes very serious business, isn't it? But knowing that at the end of the day, part of the admin charge comes to the unit is part of the incentive. Finally, I want to applaud the contributor who mentioned security. That was a very brilliant contribution. A round of applause again. And a warm round of applause for our sister from the Registry, University of Ibadan, and has made this, not just has had this experience in Florida and in Chicago before Florida, and in South Africa and in Uganda as part of this whole idea about research administration. And this is the incentive for our own colleagues too, that our work is beyond the confines of OAU. Thank you very much. A round of applause.
I'm Ogunlowo from the bursary section of the university. I want to ask a question concerning this issue of research. Despite the fact that Nigeria has become of ages since independence, let me put it that way, there have been outbreak of diseases here and there. Despite those challenges, the government will still go outside there, America, US, all this, South Africa, to import drug. What is this the research body generally all over the country? What effort are they putting to make sure that the citizenry of this country, they feel the impact, the outcome of all the researches so-called? So that's the question.
Thank you, sir. I'll attempt to answer, then I'll give the mic to Professor Lumakai. I guess the reason why the universities are focusing a lot now on communicating research finding is because of issues like that. There are so many research findings, so many things on the shelf that are not out there that people don't even know about. I think I know about, I think there's one woman in UAE that did something from Agbalumo or something that can cure arthritis, but you will not see things like that out there, probably because of the money that is required for patenting and all that, or maybe because she's afraid that somebody will steal our own ideas. But what you just said, sir, just boils down to the fact that we need more of the town and gown, handshake, You know, people in the industry, people out there, they need to know what we are doing. See, it does not make sense to just carry out research and have findings if it's just going to be for promotion and then on the shelf. I know in UI, in the Faculty of Agric, they have this uptake program that researchers go into Ajibode. Ajibode is a neighboring community where there are farmers. So the agric lecturers go and tell, you know, they have programs for farmers on how they can enrich their soil, how they can do organic farming. You understand? So if we have more of that, I know that issues like that will be solved. So we need more of the town and gown, like just I think last week there was a town and gown meeting at the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine. It was to celebrate my father's retirement. He's a professor of veterinary medicine, and you know, the person that came from town was telling us of how they misuse antibiotics in rearing chicken and cattle that we eat, and the implication on us. You know, that day I was like, shani general money buy. You understand? But issues like these are silent. You understand? And they were saying, you know, we had a representative from the Oyo State Task Force or something, and said they were going to start clamping down on farmers that do not have veterinarians working with them. You know, most of them just feel, what do I want the business for 10 years? And then you are giving them the wrong thing, which will be ingested by humans when they eat it. You understand? Still going back to the town and gown. So I think that's the solution to the problem. The universities have to work with industries, with the community in dissemination of research findings. Thank you. Prof, anything to... Okay, sir. All right.
Thank you, our research person. I think you've really addressed the issue. When I was in Wake Forest University in North Carolina, there is an office designated for community engagement. I don't think we have such in OAU. Once you are done with your research and it comes out so beautifully and you discover that this thing is worth communicating, you take it to that office, they will look at it. If they have to do a trial or randomized trial or whatever trial they have to do, the office will work on that, and once it is certified, they are the ones that would arrange how this thing will get out of the shelf to the community. That is the third stream agenda we are talking about in research world. Research is beyond you conducting your work, publishing, and you keep it on the shelf. When you are due for promotion, you are presented and you become a professor. The third stream agenda is that the end product of every research should end up in the society, should meet a need, should address a need, should fill a gap, not just in written form alone in journals. So I think we are still, I was discussing with Ms. Olasami, we are like 200 years behind. When we went to US last year, I was there for 5 weeks. She was in Florida. I was in North Carolina. Professor Oseni was in Oklahoma. And Professor Taiwo was in Georgia. We went as a team from Nigeria. We came back with all these ideas. That is why we are doing this. In OAU, as of today, we don't have research administrators. It was as a result of the program that we did, the UASP program, that made the university to release some staff to, you know, Central Office of Research. They are new. The Warima conference she talked about, we applied to the university, not for ourselves, that research administrators that were relocated to research office should be sponsored to Senegal, Dakar. University said there is no money. And that is the starting point. We're talking about, Professor Seni was talking about the administrative charge. When I was in North Carolina, I asked the person in charge, I was attached to the Office of Research and Sponsored Programs. So I engaged different people handling different things. The work of a researcher abroad is to conceive the idea, conceptualization. Go to research office, tell them, I have this idea. Come up with your objective, your aims and everything. The team will take it up from there. They are the ones that will look for the appropriate sponsor that would fund that project for you. They are the ones that will help you to package your budgets. Yours is to think about the science, like she said. Every other thing is done by administrative staff. Why would they not progress? The administrative charge, Prof talked about the 10%. I asked a question there. They said in Wake Forest University, it is 40% that they take from the grants, and it is shared. From the department of the PI has a vote from that 40%. A percentage goes to the faculty, a percentage goes to the library, and a percentage goes to the Office of Research. And the money, what it is meant for is that when you run into trouble, maybe there was an oversight when you were developing your budget, and there is something that was under budgeted for, and you needed more money, you go to any of them and withdraw a token from there. It's not a largesse that should be shared. It's not IGR that should be used. It is when you are done with the close out and you discover that you have filled all the gaps, you have addressed all the budgets, you have paid all your bills, it is then the remaining can be used for anything in those offices. I had a research grant from Netherlands. So in 2015, it was a 3-year project. It was a multinational project. Netherlands, Nigeria, I am the PI from the Nigerian group, Switzerland and South Africa. At the end of it, we published 2 articles from there. The Netherlands team published 1. Only 2 of us out of 7 in the team qualified to be listed as co-authors. I was the second author, then the PI there. Then when we were to print our own or publish our own in Nigeria, I am the principal, the first author. We concluded this write-up. We submitted to a very high impact journal in US. It was reviewed, it was accepted. Unfortunately, like she said, maybe somehow I was careless. I didn't read through that there was going to be publication charge. I thought it was a free journal. You know, Nigerians, we like free things now. It was after they had accepted, they have done the first level of review, second, and I got the letter of acceptance, ready to go to press. I got the letter that I should pay the publication fee. Ask me how much? $4,000 US, which I did not include in our budget. We had already done the closeouts. This was like 2 years after we had concluded the project. You know, we are lazy at times to publish, to put data together and write for publication. I started negotiating, speaking all the English and writing all the English. They met severally and they said eventually, I said, I'm from a developing country. You are encouraging us to publish in high impact journal. If you came up with this beautiful manuscript as you acknowledged, then you should help us. I don't have that money. They first reduced it to 2,000. I said, I still don't have it. Second time, they said 1,002. I said, I don't have such a money. They now said the lowest they could go was $450, which was still on a very high side. We are 7 on the team. I called the team members and said, come, this is it. All the communication I was forwarding to them as PI and corresponding author. Could you believe that my team members, 7 of us, senior people, we could not contribute $450. And we lost that journal. But they now said, okay, they have another journal from the same organization, and they could publish our article in that journal for free. That is what our people went for. I did not need it for promotion. I was already a professor when we did this thing. They are the ones that needed it. With all the plea, I said I was going to 50% of the 450, the 6 of you go and contribute $200. They still refused. So that's okay. Let's go for the free lower quality journal. No, not lower quality, so, but, you know, not the one I desired with the quality of manuscript. So when I got to US, I had to ask them that in such a situation, what do you do? They said the administrative charge, that is what it is meant for. That I should go back to my university, go and tell them my plight, and from the amounts they reserved from my projects, from my grant, should be released for that. That will increase the visibility of the university. But we now go to bursary and tell them, I beg, from the 10%, come and do this. So we are 200 years behind. I hope this program will yield positive results. The universities are aware that this thing is going on, and we are praying and we are hopeful that things will change. UI, they have moved ahead. We have Central Office of Research. They have Research Management Office. She said there are 13 there. Here we are 6. And the 6 of them, nobody has an idea on anything that has to do with research management. And that is why we are doing this. So let's keep praying, and we know that one day we will get there. That office is an office domiciled in the university, Community Engagement Office. And that is what they do for researchers until we get there.
Thank you, my sister. I'm Julius Oyelakin from the Central Office of Research. Apart from winning grants, I think there are things that the researchers need to do also. Researchers need to educate people around them about their projects, rather than keeping it secret. And that is the problem in this part of the world. Research is supposed to be an open thing. Even if you want to reel out questionnaires, you need to educate the respondents or prospective respondents. This is what we intend to do. But our people will keep it secret, as if it is a secret court. I remember Dr. Adekola when he came here in 2012. He was the task team leader of the World Bank funded STEB project. He said he could visit the university without necessarily visiting the STEB office or Vice Chancellor's office. He would just ask the gatekeeper or the gateman or security personnel, what are they doing in that office? He said, if they are unable to explain what you do there, then there is something fishy. We need to carry everybody along. The water engineering unit, do you think they are not important? You want to run an experiment in your laboratory and there's no water. The union leaders, you need to carry them along. I'm sorry we have this big project for this university. If there is a struggle, please allow us free passage. Because when they close the gate, you can't access your research center. I don't know where you do it. The same thing goes for electrical. If they don't supply electricity to your laboratory, you can't do anything. Will you run on diesel? So I think it is better for cleaners, as they are very, in fact, the most important. Something happened in an intensive care unit in a teaching hospital. Bed number 6, patients must die on that bed. Every patient brought to that bed must die. And they set a camera. What could be responsible? Lo and behold, the cleaner will come in the morning, the first thing, they don't have electricity in their area. The first thing she will do is to unplug the life supporting equipment and charge her phone. You know what will happen to the patient? That was the discovery. So if a cleaner refuses to clean your laboratory, you are in a mess. Besides that, somebody is to open the laboratory door or wherever and closes at the end of the day. Where is he or she? So a researcher must carry along everybody. Everybody is important in this project, and we must let it be. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. He has made a very valid point. And I think until we change our idea about research, Kinshat in the paper, module from promotion, it's not about that. It's not about that. The idea is if you have a research that is not making things better, just like Prof said, then it's not worth it. I pray that God will help us. You know, when we were complaining at the Florida Atlantic University, they said, we have also been there. I said, okay, oh, if you have also been there, then that means there is hope for us. We are 13 in the office, and they say, oh, Equal office. They have over 100. They have over... Those units of the Research Management Office that I mentioned, in those institutions, they are big offices with directors. You understand? With people under them, you know? And that's why, because in the US, the universities run on research. They run, that's how salaries are being paid. So it's what you bring in. The 9 months, 6 months that we were talking about, that some researchers are just paid for 9 months. Over time, about 3 months to cool. It's a problem. If you don't bring in a grant, that means for the remaining 3 months in the year, you understand? But here, you do research, you don't do research, your salary comes in. There are professors that have retired and have never applied for a grant. When you even go to meet them, you'll be like, okay. In fact, Innocent was telling me that he sent one funding opportunity and he saw a professor and said, "Excuse me, sir, did you see this? I think you should." He said, "Ewo, you call about me one political appointment." You understand? Because they're like, I'm a professor already. I do not need it. You understand? So until that mentality changes, and I think, just like we said, the university has to probably put in policies in place. Maybe not to probably make your salary come from grant, but if they say, okay, you bring in a grant, instead of 10 publications, you have 1 grant and 3 publications will promote you. That will act as incentive. You understand? So until this thing changes, the 200 years back, I pray that God will bring us forward. So I want to say thank you to the organizers of this program. Thank you for believing in me. I wanted to run, but they made me come. And then I want to thank the Research Management Office. I'm here to represent them. When I got the letter, I was like, hey, Sobayo. You know, everybody came together and said, okay, talk about this. Okay, this is what we do in this unit. This is what we do in this unit. And then just yesterday, I sent a message to the director that, okay, I'll be coming here today. And he said, and he called me, Funmilayo. I said, my husband will drive me down. And I said, no, don't disturb the young man. Let him do his work. The driver will take you. The director is in the office, so he gave me official car, official driver. Only me like this. So I want to thank him. It's been amazing. And then I want to thank all of you. When I was coming, I was like, hey, you made it really easy for me, and I've learned from you. And I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. A round of applause, please. We are so inspired by the coming of Fumi. And there is a special gift for everybody. The gift that Fumi and all IREX fellows have enjoyed. So take out your pencil, biro and paper and write irex.org. irex.org. The presentation of Fumi, the knowledge empowerment, the capacitation, all the dynamics of our presentation stems from God through IREX. Abi? IREX gives fellows now fellowships for over 20 years. And through your contributions today, there's a contribution from procurement. It is covered by IREX. There's a contribution from bursary, audit, innovations in procurement, innovations in ethical practices. Even the security, all these are innovative ideas that could be used to improve research administration. And UI has almost taken all the slots in those 20 years. OAU broke through in 2020, 2021. The first set, where UI just monopolized and forgot baby brother, baby sister. The same thing with UNILAG. As we are speaking here, we have at least 2 staff from UI registry on fellowship now in the US, at least 2 from UNILAG, and at least 1 from OAU from the registry. So the outcome of this is to capitalize on this opportunity of your coming here. Go to irex.org. They have a program called UASP, University Administration Support Program. All the display by Fumi, she is one of the chieftains now, because as a fellow, she becomes recognized as a resource person. And that is why she is here. So the gift for your coming is to capitalize on the opportunities from irex.org. irex.org is funded by Carnegie Corporation for the past 100 years. Before IREX, other funding for education support, isn't it? So what we see is this, we look at the thematic areas for IREX, innovations in budgeting and auditing to support research administration. We can do it. We have seen other fellows from other universities across Africa. They are not better than us. So the real gift for today, beyond the knowledge and the moi moi and water, the real gift is the IREX. Please go and dissect that. There's something in your area. I see opportunities for standards in procurement. I see opportunities for compliance, ethics, for all of this. Even the Vice Chancellor's office is covered for security and all other areas. Please take this very seriously. We have Fumi and Co. as evidence of IREX fellowship. And success of it is the knowledge empowerment. And then there is the 5-week trip to the US. And then there are follow-up programs too that she has. They give periodic calls. There is already the 2022-2023 agenda for the same calls. So let's follow up on all of this. And again, in the absence of any other contribution, just to register that the head of our team is Professor Kehinde Taiwo, former Dean of Technology, the current Director, Linkages and Partnerships, is unavoidably absent. So we are standing in trying to carry on her behalf. She will join us in subsequent ones. We are preparing for afternoon session with academic staff and researchers. We want to appreciate our resource person again, our sister. So a round of applause and God bless you. Safe trip back home.
Just to add to what Prof has said, fortunately we have your contacts. So by the time the call for application for next opportunities out, we will forward to that same platform. So don't exit, so that you too can benefit from University Administration Support Program. Thank you. So have a lovely day. Thank you very much.